What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 2, Episode 18. So, Tisha and Marceau are having a conversation, and she's telling him what happened down to the ladies' day treat situation. And Marceau gives her some good stuff. You know, she's telling him, well, this would happen, this would happen. Melody said this. First of all, and hearing how you relayed that whole conversation, I understand here that part of the problem is your perception on things, Tisha. You, and we all have it. Let's be clear. We all have revisionist history from time to time. But I remember that original conversation that Melody had with you saying, listen, I had to pull back a little bit because I was dealing with some things. It was not about her brand at the time. It was about the fact that her and Marceau were going through some problems. I mean, her and Martell. And if I remember correctly, that's when she explained to you when her and Martell weren't even living together at the time, where she had gotten her own apartment and had moved out. So you still connecting it to, oh, Melody's just working on her brand. That's not what she said, if I remember correctly. Now, I know y'all gonna correct me in the comments, but even if it was about her brand, then you were like, well, Melody's a liar because that's not what happened, and I called BS on it. And Marceau was absolutely correct. Marceau said to her, he said, in what world where someone saying that your truth was BS does that garner a positive response? And he said, listen, she said, but Melody is a liar. He said, maybe Melody doesn't think she's lying. Maybe that is truly her recollection of events. Perception is reality. He said, you got to make a decision about what you want. Do you want to move forward or do you want to be right? Because at the end of the day, y'all are going to always see things from your own perspective. There was a conversation later on where Marceau was talking to Melody and they had two totally different recollection of events. Here's the reality. So much stuff has gone back and forth between these two families. So much minutia, so much social media, so much this and this and that. I don't think anybody is ever going to go back to the beginning, because everybody's version of where it started is going to always be different. So Letitia was like, well, do you think I owe Melody an apology? He said, you owe her an honest conversation. But you need to, no, he said you owe her a listening ear. That's what it was. Because that's what you owe her. Melody opened herself up, which we know she does not do often. And I think she was sincerely trying to figure out how y'all move forward. I ain't saying y'all gonna be best friends. I ain't saying that y'all gonna live through this to the end. But I do think that there was an honest conversation in that moment where she was open to figuring out what we do from here. Where do we go from here and what happens next? Then we see Kimmy go to visit Melody. And Kimmy was like, I want to go check on Melody. Haven't talked to her since the day treat. I need to see how everything is going. And so they end up having a conversation. And Melody tells her, again, Melody has the same thing. And Kimmy sort of tells Melody the same thing. Like, listen, it's a perception. Your perception is your reality. You see it the way you see it. Letitia sees it the way she sees it. But we got to figure out how to get past it. And then she was like, listen, I hear that. But honestly, Kimmy, I got so many other things going on right now that I just can't focus on that. Martell this and Martell that. And she let Kimmy know, listen, he got a baby on the way. He has a baby on the way. And Kimmy was like, oh, so that rumor is true. She was like, it absolutely is true. Now, let me rewind a minute. Go back 2 or 3 episodes. And I was giving Maurice props for not telling Marceau what happened down to the camp. And people in my comments was like, well, what's the big deal? It was on TV. We gonna find out anyway. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but in that moment, when they filmed it, in that moment, it wasn't all over the blogs. It wasn't. Like, yeah, at this point, we all know, and hell, Melody telling every episode, she telling somebody else. So, yeah, we all know now, but I was talking about, it doesn't matter if I hear a rumor from somewhere else. What matters is the fact that that the rumor didn't get spread by the person I confided in. So, he confided in the guys over by the campfire. What's important is that they held that confidence. Now, whether Melody is holding the confidence, whether his mama is holding it, that's a different conversation. But the fact that my boys, my friends, my guys, my fellas held my confidence That's the point I was making. Anyway, let's get back to it. So, and then Kimmy and Melody also spoke about the fact that, Martell. Here's the thing. I had this conversation. I will never forget. I had this conversation with a really good friend of mine years ago. She was in mentally abusive relationship, and it eventually ended up being physical. But it was a very mentally abusive relationship. She would break up with the guy, they would get back together. She would break up with the guy, they would get back together. She would break up with the guy. Remember, she broke up, moved to Atlanta. Next thing you know, he moved to Atlanta. Next thing you know, they getting back together. She telling me I'm a bridesmaid. They having a wedding. Okay. The wedding getting called off. Okay. This happened. That happened. This happened. That happened. They broke up. I mean, they broke up and got back together. I mean, it got to the point where, girl, I was just like, okay. And then when she was finally done, I knew she was done because I knew some things had changed. I knew some things in her conversation changed. I knew some things in her affect changed. So I knew she was done. He didn't know she was done. And here's why he didn't know she was done. Because he had always done whatever he had to do to get back in good. He said what he had to say. He did what he had to do. I need to go get a job. Okay, I'm going to go get me a job. Oh, I got to stop going to the club every night with my boys. Okay, I'm going to stop going to them. And he did it long enough to get what he wanted, which was to get her back. That's where I see with Melody. Martell feels like we've been doing this dance for so long. We've been breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together. We've been doing it for so long that I know that all I got to do is do A, B, and C. I got to follow the formula and I'll get Melody back. What he didn't realize is Melody is done. Melody's done. And because he's always done X, Y, and Z and got Melody back, he don't realize that ain't working this time. It's not going to work this time. And so Melody was talking about that. And Kimmy was like, Melody said, and Kimmy told her, she said, well, he's always done those things and you always went back to him. She was like, yeah, but I also told him if you do it again, I'm done. And Kimmy was like, maybe you should say if you do it again, I'm going to whoop your ass. So that's sort of where they are with it. Then we see Martell go to talk to Maurice. And I feel like after the campfire, Martell feels a little bit open. He's trusting a little bit more. Him and Marceau are still, on thin ice. They still figuring it out. You know how you walking across, ice and, you're like, okay, let me test this spot out before I put my full weight. That's kind of where him and Marceau are. But him and Maurice, I think, are in a really good place. So he went to talk to Maurice because Maurice been through divorce. He's had to deal with the kids and, with custody and those kinds of things. And Maurice gave him some really hard, he gave him some real good facts. And he said, listen, do you want this divorce? Like, I feel like you don't want the divorce. And here's the reality of it. Martell is a perfect example of, how back in the day, and when I say back in the day, it was accepted that a man had, in certain societies, it was accepted and expected that a man had a mistress. He had his wife and he had his mistress. The wife knew about the mistress. The mistress knew about the wife. It was accepted. The wife would be expected to have the kids. The wife would be expected to take care of the home. The wife would be expected to cater to the husband. The mistress was the good time girl. The mistress was there for the good times. Right? And it was the expectation. That is what Martell wants. Martell wants Melody and the perfect house. We are power couple. We making moves. We making money. We look good. We got the perfect family. But he also wants his good time. And that's what it boils down to. And so Maurice, I can appreciate the fact that you are giving him some good information. But Martell doesn't want to stop doing what Martell is doing. He just wants things to stay the same. He doesn't want Melody to ever change. Now, with that being said, the conversation was the same conversation that I feel like other people have tried to have with Martell. And he's saying all the right things, but he ain't doing it. And that just is what it is. Marceau and Tisha go down for a tasting down to Black. They're tasting everything on the menu. And here's what I can respect out of Marceau. And I don't think this is just for the show. I think this is really truly who Marceau is as a person. Here's what I can respect. I feel like Marceau is using what he has as a perfect opportunity to bring and uplift other people. He is truly going behind and pulling people with him. He's hiring the guy looks like he's a young chef, right? He's hiring him to be the chef for Black. He's hired a Black chef, a Black architect. Like, I really feel like that he's really making a conscious effort to do these things. Here's what he was telling the chef. He said, listen, I'm going to be honest and I'm going to be real about the situation. He said, look, the food is good. Your presentation isn't. And that's the part. He said, we can do better. He said, the food is good. That part we got. The presentation we can work on. And I feel like if the food wasn't good, then he would have to start at ground zero. But the fact that the food is good, he said, we got to work on. He said, because what I want this to be a high-end experience for my patrons. I want them to come here and get an experience for a decent price that they would have to go to the other people and pay 3 times this amount for. I want them to feel like their money is valued. I want them to feel like their patronage is valued. And I want them to keep coming back. I don't want people to be like, well, I'm going over to Black. I just want to support a Black restaurant. No, I'm going to Black because I get the same experience at Black that I get at the other places. And I said, you better go ahead, Marceau. And so he told the guy, and then we saw later on in the episode, he puts his money where his mouth is. He brought the other chef over to show the chef how to plate his food. Now, my sister's a chef, and I know that that's something that they learn in culinary arts. I don't want to say chef school. When they, my sister has a degree in culinary arts. So I know this is what they learn, but maybe he didn't go the traditional route. Maybe he's a good cook, but he didn't go the traditional route. And again, that gives me even more respect for Marceau to say, listen, I know you have the talent, and everybody doesn't have to go to school. Everybody doesn't have to get the degree. The talent is there, and I can take that talent and turn it into and elevate it. So then they get to talking about hiring for Black. Marceau wants to hire Jalen to be the general manager. And his thing was, I see the potential. I know it's there. He seems excited about it. And no, he may not be ready and have all the skills, but I wasn't ready either. When I became a general contractor, I wasn't ready. But what I did was I hired a good team around me and I listened. And I was ready. I got ready. So this is what I'm going to say about this, Marceau. I think this is a great sentiment. But here's what I feel like you could do. I don't feel like you need to put the full kit and caboodle out there. I feel like what you could do is make him the assistant general manager, put a qualified general manager in place, and put Jalen on track. So within 6 months to a year, if you show me what I need, and you show me what you got, and you are really learning, and you are really elevating, and you are really stepping up, okay, now you got the job. And the guy that you hire as the general manager, tell him, say, listen, go find somebody that I'm going to put it in education terms. A lot of times when schools are in trouble, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll reach out, good school districts will reach out to principals who were successful. Maybe they're retired now. Maybe they moved. They're doing different things. And they say, listen, can you come in for about 6 months? I just need you to mentor this person. They got the potential, but they need some help. I know you can do it. Can you mentor them? Give you about 6 months. You can go out and find somebody that's in the restaurant field who has the experience that you can say, listen, I got this guy. I need you to train him. Make them the general manager for 6 months. Make Jalen the assistant general manager for about 6 months. And if Jalen is really doing what you know that he has the potential to do, boom, you're good to go. Everybody was on the same page from day one. Everybody knew this was a 6-month situation. It's almost like a 6-month trial period. Now, Letitia's concern on the other side is, listen, I love Jalen. Okay, he my nephew. I love him. But my problem is, one, I'm a little worried that he doesn't have any experience. And two, we didn't talk about this. This wasn't a group decision. You didn't come to me and say, this is my idea. You had already put it in place. Letitia, I don't know how many different ways he can tell you that he don't feel like you're an equal partner. But whatever. So then we have Jalen come in and we have Marceau sit down to talk to Jalen. Listen, I like Jalen, y'all. I do. Jalen ain't ready. Jalen ain't ready. And that doesn't mean he can't get ready. That doesn't mean he doesn't have potential. But Jalen is not ready. Hire him. Make him assistant general manager. But he ain't ready to run your operation. Especially not after that speech you gave the chef about what it is you want people to have and the elevated experience and the this and the that. He ain't ready to do that yet. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. I'm on the outside looking in. Jalen was, Marceau was talking to Jalen about, he's trying to basically interview him. He's like, tell me about some failures. Tell me some things you failed at. Listen, that is interview 101. You can bullshit your way through a failure. Even if it's something you really didn't fail at, you can talk about how you failed the first time, but you learn from that experience, and now it's something you do well. That's like when they ask you to interview, or the interview question when they ask you, what is your worst attribute or something like that. Mine is all, when they ask me that dumbass question, I give them a dumbass answer. I just work too hard. You can come up with something you failed at, Jalen. I mean, first of all, you just got out of college. You can talk about a class you failed. Even if you never really failed a class. Then he was talking to him about, why does he want to work here? And Jalen kind of gave him a decent answer. But again, if this was not your brother-in-law, your frat brother, it is not the answer that would get you the job. It just ain't. Then after they went through all that, he said, all right, well, Marceau, I got to go. I got something to do. Marceau was like, excuse me? Now, I don't know if Marceau said, can you stop by here for a few minutes? And he literally cut a few minutes out of his schedule. Or if Marceau's expectation was that, okay, we're going to have this conversation and now we're going to start training today. Like today is where the training starts. But Marceau's face when he said, all right, now I got to go. Marceau was like, what? 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 I don't know. I don't know if that was a miscommunication or what, but I guess Jalen's mind, hey, we good to go. It is what it is. Now, the next scene, we have Marceau and we have Melody. Now, listen, y'all know Marceau and Melody are oil and water. But here's what I saw in this scene. Marceau irritates Melody, and Marceau likes to irritate Melody. But at the end of the conversation, they were joking, they were laughing. I mean, they were still digging at each other. They were still coming back and forth and throwing digs. But it wasn't with the same anger and venom. Now, Melody is changing the sign on the door. It is no longer Holt and Holt. It is now Melody S. Holt, blah, 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 Incorporated LLC, under the rock of the great Jabriah. I don't know. Whatever the name of the new office is. Marceau is picking on Melody every chance he gets. Okay, he is picking on Melody every chance he gets. But ultimately, he went down there to try to see if he could talk Melody into talking to Letitia again. I know y'all were once friends. I want to see y'all work it out. I want to see y'all become friends again. Can you please be open? He said, and I told Letitia that her approach was wrong. Like, I told her approach was wrong. You calling bullshit is not going to make somebody want to have a conversation with you. Like, I told her that. Also, he invited her to the soft opening for Black. He said, listen, I'm telling you now, Martell gonna be there, but I would really like for you to come. So, we'll see how that work out. But the scene was absolutely hilarious because Melody, Marceau was just picking at her. And he was getting great satisfaction out of pissing Melody off. It was hilarious. It was a really like a brother-sister thing. I really hope that they can find a way to be in a good space. Because I think ultimately, and the one thing, and I forgot to say this, the one thing that Marceau said when he was talking to Letitia early on in the episode was, he told Letitia, listen, at the end of the day, we were once friends with these people, and they are drowning. They are drowning. And I'm safe in my boat. And I'm watching them drown. So at the very least, what I feel like is that we can be nice and have some compassion. That we could just be nice and we can have some compassion. Now, the last scene we see is Melody. First of all, let me say this. Melody and Letitia, did y'all get a 2-for-1 special on them black leather shorts? Because Melody had on a pair of black leather shorts in this last scene, and Letitia had on some black leather shorts early on. Did y'all get a 2-for-1 special on them black leather shorts? Was they selling them down to the rainbow at the Huntsville? I'm just saying. I just want to know. Anyway, moving on. Melody shows up over Chris and his wife's house. Now, remember, Chris is the realtor that they were working with earlier, the one that Marcel tried to call out, talking about something where you cheated on your wife too, where you thinking about the consequences. Him and his wife. Now, what we find out is Melody and Martell are really good friends with them, and they've actually tried to counsel them in the past. And so she invites Melody over, and Melody feels like she was just inviting her over to catch up because they ain't talked in a while. No, she pulled the okie doke. They invited Marceau, they invited Melody, and they want to have let's have one last sit down and try to see if y'all can reconcile. Like, I really, really would want y'all to work this out. Like, so Melody was not happy about it. She wasn't really here for it, but she said, you know what, out of respect for y'all, because y'all really have been good to us in the past, y'all really have been good friends, I'll go ahead and hear what y'all got to say. Listen. I'm reminded of the words, when a woman's fed up, ain't nothing you can do about it. This is what I will never understand about Martell's mindset. Martell starts talking about Melody always gets mad because when they talk about the cheating. And the wife was like, listen, Martell, what you need to understand is you keep getting caught, y'all reconcile, and then you keep doing the same thing. She said, you cheat without respect. That takes me back to the first episode of this series. If you go all the way back to season 1, episode 1, where Melody was talking about how you cheat versus cheating in general. And remember, we had that whole debate on cheating and how you cheat. Because to me, cheating is cheating is cheating. Whether you embarrass me, whether the whole world knows, or just me and you know you cheated, and the consequence for me is going to be the same. But she sort of brought that up and said, listen, it is embarrassing that she keeps taking you back and you keep doing it again and again and again. It is embarrassing. So Martell was like, well, that's the other thing. She thought, she always got a problem with the fact that I'm cheating with the same person. I mean, what you want me to do? Just cheat with multiple women? Nigga, don't cheat! What are you talking about? What do you mean? Which would you rather? I would rather you not fucking cheat. I would rather you stick by what you promised when we stood in front of God and took these vows. Don't fucking cheat. You don't get to choose which way you cheat. You just don't cheat. Listen, then he started talking about, you weren't doing the things I needed you to do. You weren't taking care of me, so I found somebody who did. And I like spending time with her, and I like the way she make me feel, and she takes care of me the way I need to be taken care of. Melody was like, fine, didn't go. And I'm gonna give Melody credit. She sat there for a long time and let him talk that shit. First of all, because it's the same shit he been saying, and I feel like she ain't heard nothing new. But I feel like he said one too many times that she wasn't doing what I needed her to do for me. Because we all know what he talking about. He back on that sex shit. One too many times. Baby, Melody was drinking out that glass, and that was that good glass. That was that good company glass. You got glass you use when it's just you, and you got that good company glass. Baby, that was that good, we got company coming over glass. Melody threw that damn glass and knocked over the whole damn table of glasses. And I don't feel like Melody really was trying to get to Martell, because she could have got to Martell. But Melody was listen. What you supposed to do? How many times is Martell going to tell me you don't treat me right, you weren't a good wife to me, and you wouldn't do whatever it was that I wanted you to do in bed, and that was my justification for continuously cheating on you for the last 5 years, publicly, privately, and now you got a baby coming? How much longer am I supposed to sit here and allow you to talk shit to me? Now, let me say this, y'all. For those of you who are just watching me for the first time, or you weren't around last season when I told you that I got a friend of a friend that know them, and that there is another side to this story, and that Melody is not as innocent as we kind of feel, I'm going to say this for the purposes of, y'all know I don't like bringing outside shit, so this is what I saw. But in that moment when Martell made the comment about, everybody needs to know what I know, and everybody needs to know the Melody that I know, because everything ain't what people see, I just thought, it took me back to that, like, But at the end of the day, I don't give a damn if Melody is the nastiest person on earth. I don't give a damn if she cuss you out all the time, every day. I don't give a damn. I don't care what all that is. At the end of the day, you were wrong. Like, even if Melody is just as guilty, two wrongs don't make a right. And the fact that you have gone out of your way to embarrass this woman, you want to talk about what she not doing for you sexually. You want to talk about how she not doing this and she not doing that for you. I mean, then you was talking about the kids and how you wanted to take a step back and how you were more hands-on with the kids than she is, and how you want to take a little bit of a step back and she giving you a hard time. Not the same man that said he want full custody. How you want to take a step back? You can't take a step back when you got full custody. And why, again, do you keep bringing up the fact that you're such a better father than she is a mother? That's disrespectful. Take the cheating out of it. That's disrespectful as hell too. I don't know, again, I don't know the day-to-day. I don't know the background. But I ain't seen nothing to make me feel like Melody ain't a good mother. I know you having your kids on videotape and putting them on social media talking about their uncle ain't a good daddy. I'm sorry. See, now I'm bringing outside shit. I'm sorry. I'm bringing outside shit here. Let me stop. Let me end this right here. Needless to say, Melody lost it. Melody went off on Martell, and, you know, and she even said they got Martell separate. Now, Chris is sitting there the whole time and ain't saying shit. I'm waiting. His wife said, I kept waiting for you to say something. And I was like, me too. At what point are you going to rein Chris in? At what point, Chris, at what point were you going to rein Martell in? At what point were you going to tell Martell, listen, bruh, calm down, stop, don't do it? And Melody was like, this is what I'm dealing with. Like, yes, and she apologized and she offered to clean up. She was like, I really am sorry. She said, but listen, this is what I have been dealing with. This is the Martell that I'm dealing with every day, okay? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. How do I come back from that? Because what you keep doing is justifying your bad behavior. How do I come back from that? I don't have nothing else to say. And honestly, listen, at this point, there's not a damn thing. Listen, she done. She done. And word on the curb is the divorce was final this week. So it's a wrap. It's over. Go on with your mistress and do what you do. Anyway, y'all, I will talk to y'all later. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Peace.